So, why the siren?
This is an emergency, a climate and ecological emergency, and we must take climate action now. Last week we heard 200,000 people were evacuated in California, 12,000 homes destroyed, and 25 people sadly lost their lives. It's becoming more and more apparent that you may die of old age, but your kids will die of climate change. And as we all know, those least responsible for the crisis will pay the highest price. So back in 2018, XR declared it was in open rebellion with the government, using this handbook as a guide to help people organise. We shut down central London for 10 days. Over 1,000 people were arrested as we rang the alarm bell, sending a clear message to government that this is an emergency and they must take action. It worked, and Parliament declared a climate emergency. Using peaceful protest and non-violent direct action, we put the climate and ecological emergency high on every agenda. We disrupted business as usual by sitting in roads, occupying buildings, giving talks and press interviews. We took on the establishment to show that democracy isn't working. Government and the law is not protecting the people. It's protecting business, and in particular, business as usual. So during the 2018 rebellion, XR gave the government a set of demands. The first one, they must tell the truth, explain how bad the situation is. The second one, that we must act now. Act with urgency, act as if it is an emergency. The third one, that we must decide together. These are huge changes that are needed, and we must have consensus for them. And all this must be built on climate and social justice. So these are the 4 XR demands, but who are Extinction Rebellion? Well, we're just a group of ordinary folks, no leaders, no bosses, and definitely no organisers. Just people who want to make a difference, whether it is writing letters to your MPs, councillors or Senate members. Manning the XR Cardigan street stall, where we're listening and sharing people's concerns and views. Or attending something like a mass people's assembly in Windsor, where we demonstrated that the existing democratic system is broken and we need to replace it with citizens' assemblies. So members of XR Cardigan have been involved in actions everywhere from the G7 summit in Cornwall to the COP26 in Glasgow and numerous other actions in London. It would be very easy to think that everything Extinction Rebellion does is centred around London, but there is so much going on locally. Members of XR Cardigan were at the blockade of Fossa Vran, an illegal coal mine near Merthyr Tydfil, which was operating with no planning permission. Today we've been actively opposing the new coal mine application for a new mine in Carmarthenshire. But we're not all about gluing ourselves to coal mine gates. We have great links with local groups such as Transition Brogue Wine, Cwmarion Renewable Energy and the Hope Garden in Kilgarren. And this fabulous picture from the Hope Garden shows how one school pupil designed the area to give a home to nature and a place for people to share their climate worries. So the Hope Garden shows how we link with local issues, but XR Cardigan has also been involved in other campaigns of national and international importance, such as supporting the Climate and Nature Bill, which was going through Parliament today, asking the Welsh Government to sign the Fossil Fuel Treaty, or the desperately important campaign for safe migrant routes. So at the start we said XR is based on non-violent direct action, with folk being prepared to be arrested and in some cases to go to prison. At the moment, there are over 50 peaceful protesters being held in British prisons for trying to protect the planet. One of them is local activist Hannah Schaefer, who is so worried about the crisis, she took action and is prepared to go to prison in order to force the government to tell the truth. So Hannah is one of 50 non-violent climate activists who've been imprisoned in 2024. They've received some of the toughest penalties handed down and banned from telling juries why they took that action. So on the 29th and 30th January, we will be protesting outside the Royal Court of Justice in London, where 16 non-violent, peaceful protesters are appealing their excessively harsh sentences. We would love you to be there with us. Okay, so you can see Extinction Rebellion is effective. It's fun, and most important, it works. And part of the reason it works is because it is such an inclusive group, and there should be no barriers to being able to protest. So if transport, a disability, or finances are stopping you getting involved, we will do our very best to help. We need you to join XR Cardigan, and there's always a role for you. Whether it's painting a banner or a placard, highlighting Barclays as the UK's largest funder of fossil fuel projects, occupying the corporate headquarters of an oil company, or feeding thousands of protesters on the streets of London. Come and talk to us. So if you want to know more about the 29th and 30th in London, or the new coal mine proposal for Carmarthenshire, or you've got any general questions about Extinction Rebellion, there's lots of us here, we'll all be milling around. You can come and speak to us, and we'll ignore the gong because we're all rebels anyway. And you will find us in Kenora on the second Friday of every month. Thank you very much.